What's up guys, and welcome back to Pop Beat Breakdowns. In today's video we're going to be breaking down a beat I made today in the style of guitar and synth alternative pop. Is the title I've gone for because I listened to Lauv's latest album before I made this beat today for inspiration. That is why Lauv is in the thumbnail for this video, because he has directly influenced this song. So I'm going to break down this beat for you. So before we do get into the video though guys, smash that subscribe button if you are new to the channel, because it is the best way to support the channel, and we are trying to get 100 subscribers by the end of the year, and I think we can do it. But with that mandatory out the way, let's get straight into Logic and let's break down this beat that I made. Okay, so we are now in Logic, and what I love about today's beat is this is a very simple one, and that's why I wanted to show you this on the channel, because I do feel like the chorus is quite a nice big sounding chorus, but there's not a lot to it. And this video again is the perfect example how sometimes, you know, it's not about making big productions, it's about keeping it simple and effective. So I'm going to quickly play you the sound of this beat. So yeah, you get the vibe, and again, I listened to some Lauv before I made this, and this is just what came out. Now, one thing I really want to point out about this track before I show you the individual instruments is when you're making a production before you write any vocals, you want to understand that sometimes you want to keep things a little bit more simple in the production, because vocals are also going to be an element in the production at a later date. So sometimes you don't want to overcrowd a production. That's why sometimes it's very good to get into the practice of trying to make beats with not a lot going on. Like, this whole thing is only 16 tracks, and some of them tracks are only because I've got little breakdowns in the drop down of a summing folder for some drums that I've put in. So again, I'm going to show you the individual instruments, but just keep that in mind when you make a production. Sometimes less can be more. So I started this beat today with some guitar. I'm going to play you this guitar. So if you want to know what this is the electric mint from Contact. I put in this MIDI, programmed it in. It sounded great straight out the tin. And again, like, I haven't done anything to this. This is a preset. I just bounced it because I wanted better control over the audio, which is why it's bounced out. But this is, again, the Electric Mint by Contact, Native Instruments. And it sounded great, and I wanted to use it, and I was feeling inspired, so I added some drums next. And again, this was completely just, I dropped in these samples from Splice, and I wanted to keep the beat simple, but I wanted it to have a really nice punch to it. So I came up with this kick and snare combination. Again, this drum beat was just in my head when I listened to the guitar. There's not really any sort of technical saying that I can give you for why I program the beats in that way. It's just sometimes I just like to throw a drum beat on a guitar like this, and that's how a production's made. And today that's how it was. I just literally got this guitar in, put that little beat over top, then I added some hi-hats, the After Party, which is a Logic preset from the electric drum kit. And then there's something else I added in as well, which I notice is now missing from the chorus. So I'm just going to add that quickly in. And this was a little shaker, again from After Party, just to give the drums a little bit more bounce. Just subtle, but just something else there. A little bit of bounce in it. And then I added some white noise crash risers in there. So this is the original crash that I added in, and then I also threw in a reverse version of that to create a riser to again build a little bit of transition between the pre-chorus and the chorus. So again, you can see so far there's not really anything overcomplicated going on in terms of the EQing. Like, this is all stuff that came programmed in already from the preset, and the kick and the snare directly taken in from Splice. So I didn't do any mixing at all to the kick and snare. I liked it how it was. It had really nice like low, mid and punch at the same time. So just literally just building the drums and the guitar, we already have the basis of a song here. So the next thing I wanted to add was the low end, and I wanted the bass to have a little bit of movement. Now, this is in the key of F major. I'm a big fan of the F major key, especially when it's chord progressions of the D minor to G minor, C, F. Again, like, for those of you who don't really know theory, don't worry, I'm not the best person of theory. I've just learned over the years from writing a few songs in the key of F major. I know what chords sound nice together, and this is the key I come back to. So this key is in F major, and I followed the root note of the bass, but as you can hear, I added a few sort of transition notes in between the root notes when I was playing the bass, so it has a little bit of movement to it and sort of having its own counter melody going on compared to the guitar. So let's listen to the 70s classic synth bass, which, by the way, is Alchemy, a Logic sound bank, and it's a preset. Sounds very cool. Always reminds me of The Weeknd. So yeah, it's just a preset from the bass in Alchemy. And this is it with the guitar. I thrown in that little minor note. I don't know if you heard it halfway through, just to give it a little bit of spice. Here it comes. Again, nice little transition note. That's what I call them, transition notes. I don't know if that's the actual technical name for them, but I call them transition notes. Something to make the end of one section to the beginning of another, or a sort of loop of a sample more interesting, just to throw that in there, something different, to keep the listener more interested. So then the last thing that I added was my Simpson pads. So I wanted there to be a little bit more of a running bass line, so I did add the Bright Cycle, which is a bass preset from the Retro Synth in Logic. And again, I've never used this before, but I was very surprised when I found the Bright Cycle, and this is just playing the first and fifth notes, I believe. Let's have a listen to this. Reminds me of 80s synthwave. But I just thought, hey, I'll keep it in. So this is it with the bass. And then I just felt like I was really liking the sort of like the high energy that was starting to be created from the pad. So I added in the Future Strings, which again is a Logic preset pad. And by itself, it sounds like this. I use this a lot in my productions. And that's just playing a combination of, I believe it is D and C. Obviously, because the chord progression is D minor, G minor, C, and then F. So for the first two chord progressions, the D minor, G minor, I hold down the D because D and G is both in the chord of D minor and G minor, so it works, and it adds a little harmony for when the G minor comes in. And if you're still not lost, then it's the same for the C, because the key C is in the chord of F and C. If I just hold down the C, it works with both of them chords. So again, it's just playing around with the harmony to create something interesting. So with the Bright Cycle, we get this, and the bass. Just a little bit of variation, because you don't want everything to be like repetitive, you know. And then the last thing I've added, this is again from the software instrument, the Mini V3, which I got free with my Arturia keyboard as Arturia software, and it's great. I always just find a random preset in here sometimes just to see what happens, and literally this was the first pad that I opened in Arturia. I just did a sort of roulette of pads just to try and create something different today, and I just found this pad, and it just sounded great. It was different. And I just thought it complemented the guitar really well. So when you hear these two together, it really just gave me the idea for the pre-chorus. And that is the song. You put it all together and you get what I would describe as an alternative pop on the Lauv side, heavily influenced type beat. So yeah, enjoy this little snippet of it. So yeah guys, that was the beat today on the channel. If you enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button, as it's the best way to support the channel, and don't forget to like this video to get it pushed out into the algorithm to more people who'd be interested in this kind of content. But I'm going to leave the video there for today, guys. Please comment below any other artists you want me to do type beats of, and then do a video on this channel showing you how I made that talk beat. But other than that, guys, keep making music, and I will see you in the next video.